This is something which I will give a presentation in June in Paris on the OECD meeting on designing data for decisions. The last one is important for us in terms of using it in the foresight exercises, possibly. You know, there's a small part of the methodology. You can read it, I don't need to explain it. You can use it for describing policy alternatives and making stories out of it with this. Basically, it is what? It is a small addition, a small piece of the mosaic which you can do with the foresight, but it can be applied to many indicators, many issues, and so on. So it's a small addition, as I was telling you at the beginning. This is not something as broad as we have heard earlier the presentations. It is just a way how you could possibly use it, not only in the foresight, but in some other of your decisions. Because it simply, hopefully, could improve your understanding of the situation because you have another view of the situation. It's like, you know, you have a direct view and you have a peripheral view. This is an additional way of how you can look at things. So thank you very much.
How do you account with these statistical methods for revolutionary systemic changes which are happening now?
First of all, I mean, you know, with a method, you cannot get better than your knowledge is about, in that sense. I mean, this is basically the same question which could be talked about usefulness of foresight in the same way. I mean, you know. So let me show you, in a sense, that what my opinion would be. It could perhaps help you in a certain way to understand the situation better, but you are not better really in predicting what will happen. For instance, there were very many mathematical models. This is, you know, a statistical model and a concept how you compare things. Mathematical models which were used for predicting risks. You know, people have got Nobel Prize for that, but we know that everything crashed now. I mean, you know, and it was hardly useful at all. I mean, in that sense of the usability. So we are searching for things. It's not a predictable, or I would put it slightly different. I think it is useful, as I said, in describing what your assumptions are. You know, your results of the assumption, but it's not really useful or not very useful for predicting what will happen. But you can look at things. For instance, let me give you a world example. If you have GDP per capita and you use Sweden as a benchmark, not Slovenia of course, that means you can see how much countries in the world are away in GDP per capita from Sweden. And believe it or not, if you believe the data by Angus Madison, half of the countries in the world are more than 70 years behind Sweden. And about 36 years are more than 160 years behind in that. Now, let's go to ICT. I will take the extreme example, the others are not so extreme. Mobile phone users. You know what is the time distance? 7 years against 70 in that way. So it gives you the possibility that perhaps generally the disparities in the world could be, at least in one domain, and this is ICT, much quicker taken care of if the world community would also invest in the less developed countries then they would lose this. So this is not an answer to your question. I mean, how we can see that this discontinuity. But the discontinuity you can also describe with this, but not predict what will happen.
Sorry, I have one more question. Can you only talked about GDP and ICT.
Yeah.
Can you combine, for instance, also HDE, Human Development Index, and Gini Index to have a more complex model? Because if you only look at GDP doesn't tell you anything. Actually. I mean, it doesn't tell you about social relations in one country, what impact does for instance, information technology have on GDP and so on.
No, this is a very good question, and I could later show you some results on that. What my method does is asking questions first. I will tell you a saying which was, it was a saying attributed to Pablo Picasso, but I don't believe it was really he who said. This is, computers are useless. They only provide answers. So we want to ask questions also. And for Human Development Index, it's like this. Human Development Index shows very small, please. We understand what I mean. Much smaller, that would be a better way than a Gini coefficient or something like this. In static terms, but in time distance, if you use on Human Development Index, there is a time series from 2005 back to, I think, 1975. It shows much bigger time distances. What does it mean? That perhaps Human Development Index is misleading how quickly we can catch up in different things. And let me give you another example, if I may, not to keep the audience, is, for instance, regional disparities in China and in the United States. Regional disparities, which is, of course, a Gini you can calculate, and the Gini would be much larger in China than in the United States. But China is growing very, very fast. And so the disparity, the time distance disparity, is twice as small as the United States. So if you have the two-dimensional view that you say, if I want to understand the situation, I must look at two things at the same time, then you would say there are two different conclusions. Whether the difference is greater in China or in the United States, both are true. But this is how to explain why Chinese government is so much afraid if the rate of growth will fall down. It is not so much a question of level of comparing with the United States, forget about it. It's a question that if my theory is right, if the rate of growth is coming lower, the time distances between the strata of the population will become larger. And this is what European leaders should also understand. That even if the Gini coefficient or whatever measure you are taking for social differences will stay the same, if we are growing less or even stagnating, the time distances will increase. Let me give you the last example, which is using time distance also for non-numerical, for qualitative things. Like, for instance, a farmer has a tractor, his neighbor does not have a tractor. It's 1-0. So, in terms of the usual static stuff, it's all the same over many years. But to me, the feeling of disparity, the perception of the farmer, if this is the first year or after 20 years he still doesn't have a tractor, that's a different notion of the overall disparity, because 0 and 1 is there, but he sees that he is not catching up with his Joneses, so to say, that is what America would say.